What time? A time for sports to the bone. Don't touch me phone, make you leave me alone, yeah. At the best sports live show. For the latest reviews, you have to subscribe to. Sports to the board, sports to the board, sports to the board.
A blessed day to you, all my viewers and subscribers. Welcome back to another video. Alright, my peeps. So in this video, I just want to take a look at two things. I am going to be sharing 5 things that I would have identified coming out of that series against UAE. And I'm also going to be sharing a feature that was done on Johnson Charles by ESPN Crick Info, where they are saying Johnson Charles is not done yet. They were just basically talking about him getting a call up to the West Indies World Cup qualifying squad. So we're going to talk about that. So just give a listening ear until the end and make sure you leave a like and drop a comment in the comment section. All right, so let us kick things off with my little 5 here. And the comment section is going to be open. You guys can go in the comment section and let me know if there, you have 5 things or whatever amount that you would have identified throughout this series. Now, these 5 things, they are pretty obvious, but I just want to talk about them just the same. So the first one is Shamar Brooks and Casey Carty batting after each other. That experiment has to stop. It's not going to work. Shamar Brooks and Casey Carty batting after each other. Say for example, Brooks is at 3 and Carty comes 4 or 5 or wherever in the middle. Cannot work. We can't have those two similar players batting so close to each other. And I mean, one might say when we go up against the top teams, we are probably going to need both guys to stand up and bat some overs. But if we look at it like that, I think it's going to lead to the same thing, where a lot of that balls going to be soaked up and then shots are going to be played that should not be played, especially if both men are batting at the same time. So I am not a big fan of that experiment there, having both of them in the top order or in the middle order. So that's the number one thing. Brooks and Casey Carty, that experiment has to stop. Number 2, Brandon King is up for the challenge of opening in ODIs. And I give Brandon King this one by himself. Every other point I would have merged them with, merged more than 1 point. But this one, I leave it with Brandon King because it all has to do with how we want to play. Now, we would have seen that the captain and the coach would have decided that Brandon King opening at 3 is something that they want to try. And the captain, Shea Hope, would come in at number 4 because that would bring, according to them, some stability to the innings. You understand? In the middle overs, when we usually find it very difficult to rotate the strike. Say for argument's sake, after 25, 26 overs, and we already lose 2 or 3 wickets, we find it difficult. And we have the guys that are power hitters coming in. So if Shea Hope is around at that point, with his class and with his technique, we're expected to keep the strike, keep the rotation of a strike going. So that is the method behind the madness, so to speak. So that number 2 point there, Brandon King is up for the job of batting at number 3 if they want to continue with it. Because he did it in this series doesn't mean he's going to get a chance to do it in the World Cup qualifiers and the World Cup. But the experiment would have proved fruitful. He looked good at the top there. And remember, he's in good white ball form. So it didn't backfire. Number 3, the bowlers coming back. They will have to work double time. They will have to work overtime. The bowlers coming back will have to work overtime to get us wickets. Especially if we move through the qualifiers. We're going to need the bowlers working overtime. The attack that we have now, I mean, it's going to be different, but looking at it, I think our attack is a little bit toothless. You understand? We have Alzari Joseph, who we are depending on, Kyle Mayers, you understand, and these guys. But yeah, we're gonna have to be, they're gonna have to work overtime. Akil Hussein is our frontline white ball spinner. He hasn't had the best last couple of games for us, so we're hoping that he would have done some good work in the IPL behind the scene as a net bowler, and he's ready to go. So if we're going to feature any at all, our bowlers will have to work overtime. So Joseph and the other guys, Kyle Mears and Hola, coming in, they will have to work. So we are still a little bit worried about the bowling. So that's number 3. Number 4. This one is pretty obvious. The duo, Alec Arthanes and Sinclair, should have played more games or should have had more time in the UAE tournament there. They should have had more game time. And I can understand why they didn't have more game time. Because Casey Carty and Raston Chase, those are the 2 guys that I personally would have swapped them for in the UAE series. Those 2 guys are a part of the West Indies ODI squad that will take on the World Cup, the qualifiers. So I understand them having to play. I wasn't even looking at it like that in the beginning, but then a couple of people pointed that out. So I can understand. But, I still think that we missed a trick when we did not get a chance to play Alec Arthanes and Kevin Sinclair in more than one game. They played in the one game together, and both men basically took us across the line. You understand? So that is the number 4. Number 5. Anything over 300 is likely to give us trouble. Anything over 300 is likely to give us trouble. And I say likely because the batting lineup is going to look a little different still. You understand? You're not going to have a couple of these guys in the middle order. You're not going to have the Casey Carty and the Hodge, in my mind, in the playing 11. You're going to have the Pooran and these guys. If Pooran is there batting, he will rotate the strike. He will score. But one thing I can say, anything over 300 will give us an issue. And my reason for saying this is the rotation of strike. It is still problematic. I know we're going to have different batsmen in, but the rotation of strike is going to be a problem. Once we have to score more than a run a ball, especially if we come up against spinners, I am a bit worried about how our players will react. But those are the 5 things, my viewers and subscribers, that I wanted to share with you all. So finally now, Johnson Charles, he got a feature, yes, my viewers and subscribers, from the ESPN Cricket Info, and this feature came out a couple days ago, but I just get a chance to really look at it. And the ESPN Cricket Info is saying, the headline, Johnson Charles isn't finished just yet. They say he was on his way to becoming one of the forgotten men of West Indies cricket, but has now been named in their World Cup qualifying squad. They say Johnson Charles became the forgotten man of the West Indies cricket after their and his T20 World Cup title in 2016. They say since the end of the tournament and the start of the 2022 T20 World Cup in Australia, Charles had played just 5 T20s. But after strong returns in CPL 2022, he returned to the West Indies T20 international setup. Now, earlier this year, you guys would have remembered that he made a 39-ball 100, right? I think it was against South Africa, which would have been the fastest T20 international 100 by a West Indian. Beating out Chris Gayle and 47. So they said Charles, however, wasn't supposed to travel to the UAE. But with Devon Thomas being suspended, Johnson Charles has been called up. So this feature was done right after he was called up, but I didn't get a chance to touch on it. So I wanted to highlight him. You understand? He was out of our cricket for a little while. And I personally would have given Johnson Charles some stick when he was in the team, you know. And I can say that I have seen the work. I have seen the work that Johnson Charles has done in terms of improving his stroke play around the wicket, around the ground. You understand? And not just pulling the ball to mid wicket and things like that. So I just wanted to point out that right there. You know, Johnson Charles getting his feature there. So yeah, I'm gonna leave this one right here for now, my viewers and subscribers. But the comment section is there. Just let me know what you all think about this one. Sports to the bone. Keeping you informed. Big up.